sex on
drugs and alcohol.
Firstly, we've just got to say that we are not promoting the use of drugs or alcohol.
Safety is something that's very important when we're talking about sex, drugs and alcohol. If not separately, then definitely when they're all together.
Definitely.
Unsafe sex is on an all-time rise at the moment with us young'uns, so we have to talk about safe sex. As well as drugs and alcohol happen, they are in our everyday life, but they can cause complications. People can die from both drugs and alcohol, and it's always best to be safe and have people know. The problem with drugs is that it's unregulated. Most drugs, especially illegal ones, I mean, we could talk about prescription drugs like Valium or whatever, but most drugs we're getting from a dealer.
Just make sure that you are as safe as possible when you are purchasing either drugs or alcohol.
You get drugs from drug dealers and you cannot be sure what's in your drugs. That's just the way of drugs. That includes all drugs, you know, like weed, ecstasy, MDMA, cocaine, all of those. You have no idea what's in them unless you go and get them tested, which there a lot of places do, including festivals. They can test your drugs now for free, unjudgmentally as well.
Yeah, that would be a very good idea. It's also really important to note that both drugs and alcohol can be extremely addictive.
Yes.
So you have to be extremely responsible whilst using both.
Definitely. If you've got an addictive personality, be on top form. Like, understand what your body is telling you. If you're feeling like you're drinking too much and you have an addiction, you can't do anything without alcohol or drugs, you've got to talk about it with someone.
I also think it's a really important thing to say when we're talking about sex at the same time, is that you never should feel pressured into taking drugs or drinking if you don't want to.
Yes, and as well as sex, actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but we've all been there. We've been drunk and had sex. Some of us have done drugs and had sex. Some of us have done those things to have sex or had sex and done those things. It happens, and we're here to talk about it in a non-judgmental environment, but also to be clear about the safety.
So what are your experiences with having sex whilst drunk? Or just with alcohol in general?
Actually, I don't. When it's just alcohol, I haven't really had an awful lot of sex when I've been drunk. I've had sex when I've been drunk, but I don't enjoy it. It's not my favourite thing, so I won't feel like I need to get drunk to have sex or I need to get drunk to talk to people. I've never really enjoyed sex when I've been drunk because I can't feel it enough. I want to be able to feel it, and I think I've only done it a handful of times. My boyfriend and I recently had drunk sex, and I sort of like came round halfway through it, like, oh, we're having sex. Oh, okay. I was loving it, but I was just like, fuck, that's drunk sex. It's been a while.
I really have like a slightly different experience with having sex and alcohol. Like, I feel like quite a lot of my sexual experiences when I was between the ages of 19 and 22-ish, probably a lot of them were under the influence of alcohol, because most would happen like after a night out or after a date. And to me, actually being drunk kind of helped me sort of like let it go a bit and actually be like a little bit more confident and kind of have a more exciting, more thrilling sexual experience.
Oh, that's amazing. So again, everyone's completely different, and you will be too.
But having said that, it can be like, in the moment it feels amazing because you're drunk and you don't really like have a full kind of awareness of what's going on. The next morning, however, you might be like, oh shit, like I just fucked that guy last night when I was really drunk and I regret it.
The alcohol guilt is the worst because alcohol especially really exaggerates and plays on your emotions, so the next morning you end up just thinking, what have I done? But like, have I embarrassed myself? Have I done something wrong? There's so much like to think about. Have you ever had an orgasm, like a drunk orgasm?
Probably not actually, because I think you need to be like properly aware, because I know that the majority of the time that I was actually sleeping with a lot of people and having one night stands whilst drunk, I had that period where I didn't orgasm for 2 years. So it would make sense that that would have something to do with it.
Possibly, yeah. I don't think I've ever had an orgasm on drugs or alcohol, really.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get. I feel like to get an orgasm for us girls, it's different for guys.
Yeah.
You really have to concentrate. You have to be in the moment, and obviously drugs and alcohol changes that.
Yeah, but I also think that it's exactly the same for guys. Like quite a lot of the time, if the guy's really, really drunk, he gets whiskey dick and he either can't get hard at all or just can't come.
Can't come, yeah. I mean, it always seems like a fun and great idea, but it's like, you're never gonna have an end game. But for a lot of people, drugs and alcohol are the best way to get sex, because again, it's that confidence boost.
Yeah, you do become like, it's sort of like a different version of yourself, I guess, when you're drunk or high.
Yeah.
And you become like, oh, I can do this, like I can talk to that guy over there.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you just gain that extra like boost of confidence and that you probably wouldn't have when you were sober.
Probably like dirty talk as well.
Yeah, I bet the dirty talking is so much easier when you're drunk.
Yeah, or like doing crazy stuff, or just being like, you know, like, all control. Yeah.
Yeah, trying new things is a lot easier when you're drunk.
Interesting.
But probably not as safe.
Definitely not as safe. We don't even know what the fuck we're doing half the time.
Yeah, you just got to be so responsible with it.
Yeah.
I think it can be like really fun if you're drinking responsibly and you're not like paralytic.
Yeah.
Because it can get super dangerous if you get paralytic and end up having sex, because you can actually end up regretting it so much that you can feel like the sex was forced upon you, and yeah, it's super dangerous.
It's same with, you know, on the other side of things for the guy, like, when you're both drunk, you're not in full consent. And that's always the way. You don't know 100% if she said yes, or even if you've said yes. You just have to make sure you're both having a good time and you're not too fucking like skunk drunk.
Yeah, there's so like, I guess there's like two completely different sides to it. Like it can be awesome, it can be fun, and on the other side it can be like the worst thing that you could ever do when you're drunk.
Yeah, and you never know until the next morning. You're like,
yeah,
or you're like, fuck, that was so good. I had such a good time last night. It was really like a crazy.
Yeah. So you just got to be really aware and really responsible about it.
But we all understand we're not always like that. You know, we've all done the too drunk thing. We've all fucked the people we shouldn't have. The unprotected sex thing pisses me off. Like when I'm drunk, I'm more likely to have unprotected sex.
Yeah, that is really true.
And I hate unprotected sex. It scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But you're just like, fuck it. In the moment, you're like, well, I'll think about it later.
The more we talk about it, the more I'm thinking, this is not a great idea.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like fun and cool and hippie, and it's like, oh shit, no it's not.
Actually, like, did you really want to do that? So, what are your experiences with drugs and sex?
I do take drugs. I still take drugs now. I used to take drugs in uni. I don't have a problem with drugs, but it depends on the person, because drugs can have a problem with you. Again, drugs are a very funny one because there's so many different types and most of them are illegal. So I can start with like the easier one, like weed. A lot of people smoke weed. Weed is pretty cool and common at the moment. Like, you know, it's getting legalized in loads of states in other countries. The UK is still behind on that. I don't know if it'll ever get legalised in our lifetime, but we'll see. And I feel like most drugs should be legal for the fact that they can be tested on and researched on, and there can be more help given and less like, you know, bad association around them. So when people need help, they can get help, because an addicted person's an addicted person. It's not necessarily the drug that's done that to them, it's the person itself that's, you know, it's exacerbated problems. Same with alcohol. If you've got an addictive personality, you can turn to alcohol more than drugs or cocaine. Weed, in my experience, has been really great with sex. I used to smoke weed a lot. I've stopped now. Not out of choice, but it's really good. I feel really good for stopping. I want to smoke again, but I don't know if I will. We'll find out. I think it exacerbated a lot of my mental health issues, whether that was depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder. Really exacerbated those issues. In my experience, weed is really great with fucking, or blowjobs or oral or anything. It really delays the orgasm, but when you get to the orgasm, oh my god, you're so much more sensitive, and it can be an amazing orgasm. I gave my boyfriend head the other day when he was high off weed, and he said that when he came, he had an out-of-body experience.
Wow.
Like out of body. I was like, what? He was just like, I just left my body. Yeah, other drugs, like I fucked on MDMA. That was weird. It was like you kind of just fucking on it just to see what it's like, and yeah, it's like it's good, but the orgasm you can never get to. Oh my god, it's just like constantly out of reach. You're like,
God, that's
so
really
close.
frustrating.
Yeah, really frustrating. But MDMA can make you feel really good. Same with ecstasy.
Yeah, well, it makes you feel loved up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So
really loved
that
up.
Kind of goes quite well
Hand
with
in
sex.
hand. And for some people, it can make them feel really turned on as well.
Yeah.
It never did for me, but that's just me. Cocaine. I've never fucked on cocaine, but I love cocaine.
Naughty.
No, I have fucked on cocaine. I hope my boss isn't watching this. I fucked on cocaine at one of my old office Christmas parties, and I fucked in their house on cocaine. That was good, but like I said, it was so quick. Like as in we didn't come. It was just in out, done with that. Wasn't great.
Yeah.
Just carry on. But I know cocaine can be like amazing for some people because it gives you all this energy and it can make guys go for ages.
Yeah, I guess that's good.
I know loads of people that like have a night on cocaine and drinking and fucking. Like specifically. Stuff like hallucinogenics like mushrooms and acid I think are really hard to fuck. I haven't tried them, but from who people I've spoken to, I've had one side of like I can't even string together a sentence, let alone fuck, and the other side of, oh, me and my girlfriend used to fuck on acid all the time, it was amazing. Just totally depends on your chemistry, your body chemistry, how you intake the drugs and what you feel like. Have you fucked on drugs? Have you done any drugs?
Not many. No, I'm not into drugs at all. Like, I'm cool with marijuana, but not interested in anything else. Never have been. I have tried things, but like only like once or twice, and didn't really like the experience, so I can't imagine like wanting to have sex on them.
Yeah.
I just don't, I like being in control of my body, like at all times, because I know that I get like super anxious. I get anxious after drinking loads. So at the moment, I really control actually how much I drink, because I know that if I really let myself go, I'll get like the biggest anxiety the next day. And it's horrible.
Horrible.
Even if I haven't done anything, I'll just feel like I have, and like I've embarrassed myself, even if it was a perfectly normal night. But yeah, so drugs I stay away from, because one, I'm just not interested, and two, I don't think that they would go well with me. I think if you have that inkling, then you're probably right.
Yeah, if you want to try drugs, then you probably like are on the right path. You're never going to have a good experience every single time. You have to expect that sometimes it's going to be shit, sometimes it's going to be good. And the come downs, you are right. The come downs on drugs, like alcohol hangover is horrible.
Yeah.
Drug come downs can be goddamn awful. But in my opinion, it depends on where you are in your life. Like I've had come downs where I thought I was gonna die, but I've also had come downs where I've just been really horny and stayed in bed all day and fucked.
Yeah.
So it really depends. But then you can also do that with a hangover, can't you?
Yeah.
You can have a really shit hangover where you feel god awful and feel like you're gonna die, or you can be super horny and just like fuck all day.
Yeah, sometimes sex can be really good with a hangover.
Yeah.
Apparently it's like quite a good hangover cure.
Really? I always get super horny when I'm hungover.
Yeah.
Super horny. Personally, I wouldn't do like amphetamines, which is like cocaine and ecstasy and MDMA, without doing alcohol, but then whenever I've kind of always stopped drinking when I've been taking the drugs and drink water to keep myself hydrated.
It is a really dangerous thing to do, but so is the rest of life.
Yeah.
Like crossing the road is a dangerous thing to do every day.
Absolutely,
There are so many dangerous things that we do every single day, so it's just like it's weighing up your options for yourself and do what you want to do. It's your life.
Is it worth the risk?
Is it worth the risk to you? Just make sure you read up and you know everything about it before you do anything.
Getting the knowledge, and also speaking to friends as well. If you're going to try anything, whether it's drugs, smoking, alcohol, try a little bit first and see how you feel.
Yeah.
You know, always work your way from small to big. You know, if someone offers you a line of Coke, ask to do half of it. That's how I started.
Yeah.
If someone offers you a pill, ask to do half of the pill.
Don't take the same amount as someone that's been doing it for years.
Yeah, we've done that before with alcohol. I'm sure we've matched people with shots and been on the floor.
Exactly.
Fucked, like not okay.
Alcohol is completely the same, like it affects different people in a different way. So like one person can drink like 6 pints and still not be like that drunk. And then the other person
too.
would be paralytic
Yeah.
if they drank 6 pints.
Paralytic needs to go to hospital, yeah. Of course, with any kind of issue, like if you are worried, you can speak to somebody. You can call up the non-emergency helpline, you can call up an ambulance, speak to somebody if you feel like you don't feel right. I mean, with weed's a weird one because often not, if you've had too much, it can make you feel awful, but you're normally absolutely fine.
Like a whitey.
Yeah, like a whitey. Whiteys are horrible. It's when you smoke too much and your body's like, get this the fuck
Actually,
out of my system.
That happens when you mix alcohol with weed.
Definitely don't mix alcohol
Don't.
with weed. Unless you're a
No.
pro and you know your body, don't do it. Just don't
Oh
do
my god,
it.
it's so bad.
The general rule is you can smoke weed first and drink afterwards. You never drink and smoke weed afterwards.
Oh my god, it's the worst.
It's the
experience
worst
ever.
It is the worst.
That is the worst.
You do feel like you're dying. I feel like your body goes into shock. It's like, get it out of my body now.
Yeah, it's like this weird, like, you feel like a rush of like, it's like the blood, like, I don't know, it's like something
Blood
to do with the blood
drains from-
draining
yeah,
out of your
yeah.
body. It's like, what's happening to me?
Well, yeah, that's when you like nearly pass out and
Yeah.
shit. It's crazy. You feel like you could
And you feel
feel
like
sick or you're gonna
cold
shit,
sweats
cold
and-
and sweaty. You feel like you can't even articulate words. You're just like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
when
That-
I couldn't even talk.
I hate waiting so much. It's so horrible. But again, you just have to take it in your stride. You have to like know your body. When you feel something's a bit shit, stop. A good trick for any drug that you feel like you've had too much on is have some orange juice. Have
Orange
sugar.
juice?
Orange juice. Apparently, if you call the ambulance when you've had a whitey, they literally just chat to you and give you orange juice. Fresh air. It's really good. Walking it off. All stuff you don't want during sex.
Yeah, it's such a weird one, isn't it? We're like talking about all these really scary things and the sex at the same time, and it's a really weird.
It is a
thing
weird
to put
thing,
together.
yeah. But loads of people do it. Loads and loads of people have sex on drugs and alcohol. Loads.
Yeah.
Most people, I think, has done it once.
So common. Comment below with your experiences with sex whilst drinking and on drugs.
If you feel comfortable enough not to be anonymous, because I know you can't necessarily have an anonymous account on YouTube, give us your stories, tell us what you know, share everything, and if you like this video, like it,
Subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for watching.
Woo! I'm glad you enjoyed it and you've made it this far to the end.
Please support us on Patreon.
We earn no money from YouTube whatsoever. It might be $3 or $4 a month, if that, split between the both of us. So if you have any money at all and if our channel has been useful for you at all, please pledge some cash to our Patreon.
Please support us.
Please, even just a few dollars or a few pounds would mean so much to us.
So much.
We earn no money from our YouTube channel, so it means that we can keep doing this in our free time to give you advice and extra pleasure.
More.